What's up, everyone? Welcome back, and it's time to make up your mind with me, Mandy. And I have Brandi King today. Say hello.
Hi.
I'm so happy to have you here. You're always like such like a happy, positive light whenever I see you out, and
oh my gosh,
your content is amazing, and you're so fucking funny. And we can cuss on here. You're fucking funny.
Thank you.
Honestly, I love your personality.
My grandma might watch this, so I cannot cuss, but you do your
Sorry,
thing.
Grandma.
She'll beat me up, not you.
I'm familiar with your grandma with the scarf, with the whole scarf.
Yeah. So that comes with the cane on the side, and she always threatens me with it.
I love that you're like close to your grandma. I love it.
Oh my gosh,
I
yeah,
really
she's like one of my best friends. It's so weird because she's 85, but she's telling me, "Did you see Kim Kardashian today?
No,
I didn't like what she was wearing." I'm like, Grandma, how do you know the news? Like, she gets all her information from TV, and she's up on it more than I am.
I love that. So, that's so cute.
Yeah,
but you are more about you. You are a content creator, an actress, and a host.
Yes. I would say those are the top three.
Okay.
I mean, in this industry, we wear so many hats. Yeah.
To survive, we have to do it all, honey. We're here in LA, honey.
Yes.
Taxes are high.
Rent, light,
gas,
food, water,
all
everything.
of it. Breathing, all of it. Right now, we owe $100 for breathing. Anyways, I'm so happy to have you here, and I would like to get to know you a little bit more, like your family life, how you got to LA, where you're originally from. All of that jazz. Let's get your listeners to figure out all that for you.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I just think the Make Up Your Mind, my mind was blown. I'm like, that's the perfect title. Make Up. Okay. Anyways.
I love that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with I grew up in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
Like super shy kid. I was overweight. There's a scar on my stomach. When I was 4, I had a diaphragmatic hernia, which means when I was born, there was a hole in my diaphragm and my intestines were growing through it and wrapping around my lungs. So like as I got older and bigger, it would like constrict my lungs. So I would like run for 2 seconds and all of a sudden I can't breathe, or like I have pains. I didn't want to eat.
And that's life-threatening? My cat has that, just so you know.
Really?
A diaphragmatic hernia. He was born with it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So when you said that, I'm like, I know exactly what it is.
Oh my gosh.
It's a little bit different with a human.
Yeah, nobody ever knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So yeah, all that to say, like, ever since I got out of the hospital when I was like 5, I feel like my mom kind of was just like super overprotective of me. So I didn't do sports. I didn't do like the normal childhood things where like a kid learns to socialize and have teammates and exercise. So like, she was just making sure I would like eat and be healthy, but it was like not good.
And babied you. She babied you.
Yeah. And so it wasn't until like high school where I was just like, you know what? I'm tired of being teased, made fun of. Like, I need to figure out what causes weight, like getting in shape. I've always loved to dance, but I was always too shy. So like I went into classes and I joined the cheer squad. And then I feel like my life kind of just flip-flopped. I was like the popular cheer girl. I had like 10 groups of friends. Like, so it was just so like looking back, it's crazy to see how like I could have just stayed like that introvert. Yeah. And kind of just pushing myself out. Like here I am today. And so after high school, I went to college. I went to UC San Diego. That was like a huge culture shock.
That's a huge party school.
No, that's San Diego State. I'm the boring, smart one.
Okay, because San Diego State, I was like, I want to go there.
I know, right? Isn't it crazy? I got into the UC, but not the state. And like, I don't know, it was just weird to me. Good for you, though. Yeah.
You didn't like party, you did.
Right, and I was a transfer student because my family was like, oh, don't leave, don't do this. They wanted me to just stay local. Everybody in my family just played everything safe. Yeah. So it was like, stay here, get a state job, don't do this, don't follow your dreams. They didn't say don't follow your dreams, but they kind of said don't follow your dreams. Like, it's too risky. So I said, no, I'm going to stay in California, but the furthest point. So I went from like Northern California to the furthest southern point. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I have no friends, no family out here. I was just depressed. I remember me and my roommate, we were both just like going through it, eating our feelings away. I'm the only one with the car. She'd have me drive to Wingstop. Hi, Santos. And again, so as soon as I was like getting out of high school, like, being active and having friends, I went back down to that like introvert of
Dang.
like, you know, new college student, doesn't know anybody, eating my feelings. There was no cheer team. Everybody look up your colleges, because I had no football team. And so I just thought like, oh, I'll go do high school part 2. Like I'm going to join the cheer, the dance team. And like, there was none of that, because I just expected like my college to have a football team.
Have it, yeah.
Yeah, and it was so weird. So I was like regretting my choices, but I didn't want to transfer again. All this stuff. So then I graduated college, and I really wanted to be
what was your degree?
Media communications. I wanted
Perfect.
to be a news broadcaster.
Amazing.
So I thought.
Okay.
And I had an internship with NBC in San Diego for like 3 days. And when they wanted me there at 4 a.m. and when I found out I didn't get hair and makeup and I had to pick between a car crash or a kidnapping, I was like, this is not what I thought. Like, I wanted to do red carpets. I wanted to do like
a car crash or a kidnapping.
lively stuff. I'm like,
shit.
this is so stressful and depressing. And I would talk to the anchors and they're like, yeah. And as soon as I get home, I go watch our competition to go see like what stories I need to do better next time. So I'm like, 24-hour news, like, you know, news is so depressing.
It should just be called bad news.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I can't do this. So then I was like, I think the goal is that I just want to be in front of the camera. Like, I want to perform. I want to entertain as a little girl.
Did you knew that ever since you were a little girl?
Yes, but I hid it because in my family, like I said, everybody had like just traditional jobs. Nobody had like any entertainment or like entrepreneur type things. So
you hid it. So like
I hid it because
like
when I said I want to act, it would like be laughable or like, you can't do that. You're not going to LA. I wanted to be a dancer first because I have 2 cousins who are like amazing dancer choreographers. Like my cousin's first video was Baby One More Time, Britney Spears.
Amazing.
That was his first music video. So Jerry and Monique Slaughter, like I looked up to them.
I was gonna say that you must have been inspired by that.
Yeah, and so I'm watching them at every award show and every music video, and I'm like, I want to do that. And so when I was in like dance and cheer classes, and I would like mess around with the idea of like, oh, I'm gonna go to LA and do that, it would always be like negative talk, like, no, don't do that. LA's full of sin, like. Basically, they just made LA like a really bad place and made me think that like it's not possible. So I just started believing that like, you're right, I don't need to do that. I'm going to miss my family, all this stuff. But once I got away and went to college and started realizing like, okay, I can do this.
So it's almost good. I just want to stop you there. It's almost good that it didn't have a cheer squad.
Yeah.
Do you think you still would have ended up in LA?
That was always the goal, but there's so many like things in between that like kind of pushed me to LA, like negative things.
What were those?
So,
if you don't mind sharing.
No, yeah. So I was in a relationship in college. It was long distance. He was in Sacramento. I was in San Diego. And so, of course, after I graduate, it's like, oh, I want to go home and be back with my boyfriend. But what I should have done is move straight to LA. Because when I went home to Sacramento, we had kind of like just, it was an okay relationship, but it wasn't flourishing. And then so my dad, I went back home, lived with my dad. I couldn't afford to get a place. I couldn't even get a job. And he put this timer on me that's like, you need to be out within a year, basically like living on your own.
Right.
And I had been in a on-campus apartment on my own, but like I couldn't sustain an apartment without a job. So I was kind of like, what do you want me to do? So I would get little jobs here and there, but again, nothing enough to like cover rent and like fully be on my own. And then next thing I know, the timer's up and he's like, you need to be out. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, okay. And my mom, she lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. I couldn't fit there. Like there was nobody else to really live with. So my friend Isis offered like, if you need to stay with me, she had a 1-bedroom apartment. I ended up staying on her couch.
Isis from Bring It On, Clovers?
Oh my gosh. I was like, you know. You see
the Clovers.
Yes, it's her cousin.
I'm sorry, I had to.
Stop me because I'll keep rambling.
No, it's okay. So Isis.
Yeah, so okay. I stayed with her, and that's when the relationship started falling apart. All of a sudden, he wants to move to San Francisco, and I'm like, for what? Like, we said we were going to move to LA together.
Okay.
And like,
so that was kind of like your ticket to have a place to get to LA to afford it. You're going to be with your boyfriend.
No, we just thought it would be together, like when
understood.
I was ready. Yeah, but now he's trying to go
Thank
back
God.
the opposite
Thank you, boyfriend, because look at you now.
Wait, just wait. So Then my family's dream came true. I applied for this like state job, big salary, college graduate. The job I had been applying for like over a year and just could not get it. I get that job. I quit 2 other jobs I had, and it was just like, wow, I'm going to move out ISIS, get my own place. I have this job. Right after I quit my other 2 jobs, they were like, oh, we've made a mistake. Like, we're actually not picking you for this position. You don't have enough experience. Mind you, I had 3 in-person interviews. And it was just like, how can you do that? I just quit jobs, all this stuff. So that was like number 1, like just shut down. Like, I cannot believe this. I'm back to square one. What did I go to college for?
Seriously?
Then my boyfriend shows up on my friend's doorstep to break up with me. That was 2. Then I wake up the next morning and my car was broken into. And since I was staying with her, I was basically living out of my car. So I had a bunch of clothes, shoes, like a lot of things in my car. And they stole all of that. So I was like,
it's like a clean slate, honey.
F this. I'm leaving tomorrow. So basically, like in a week, wow. I packed up everything. I had no job, no plan, no nothing. But luckily, I had one cousin out here and she called and she was like, hey, my roommate's moving out. I know you wanted to move to LA. And I had just enough to like cover first month's rent.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I packed up the car and came to LA. And I have been back since.
And how long?
I mean, I visited home,
right,
but I'm saying like
how long have you been here?
That was 6 years ago. 6 or 7.
That's amazing.
Ago. Yeah.
Okay, so you get to LA.
And then I'm like, oh crap, what did I just do? Like,
yeah,
this
it's like
is
so
real life. I couldn't afford rent in Sacramento, but I'm gonna come afford rent in LA. Like, that didn't make any sense.
Pay a mortgage for a 500 square foot apartment.
Yeah. So my friend Ty, he was working for this show Judge Faith at the time. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but like the Judge Judy's, all those judge shows, they're real cases, but like
they're fake people.
No, they're real people. Well, some of them are actors.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you know maybe more than I do. But like, so my job was to go to the courthouse and look through cases that are like real and then like pitch to the show.
Select them for the show. Cool.
Right. So I was doing that at the Inglewood courthouse. Did not know much about LA. So I'm driving from Toluca Lake to Inglewood every day, looking through court cases with the people that did not want to keep pulling files for me because all these huge paper files. Yeah. That was my first job. Then my friend Fu, he just passed away. He got me a job with this staffing company called Optimist, which like their number 1 client was Nike. So now I was at Nike events, like for shoe launches.
That's
or
good,
just
so you were
like
meeting people.
Right. And I was like, okay, I can get with this. I was getting free shoes, free clothes. I love my tennis shoes.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I kept going in between all these jobs and I found out like that's kind of what LA does. Yeah. But I wasn't used to that. And I was like going crazy. Like I have this job Monday, this job Tuesday, going crazy. And then fast forward, the only friends I had randomly enough were like the Wayans brothers and their family and like nephews and cousins.
Not a bad family to be connected to.
Yeah,
in LA,
that's another story. I met them in Sacramento when I moved out here and didn't know anybody. I was like, hey, and we all used to go to Runyon like every morning. I got back in shape, and then they took me to a Super Bowl party at Lamorne's house, and
I've done his makeup. Lamorne.
Oh
yeah, I did his makeup like 4 years ago.
I did his makeup. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. That's crazy you said that. I just remembered right now. I'm like,
Lamorne brings people together.
Yeah, what a trip. Okay, well, shout out. What up?
Yeah. So I was at his Super Bowl party, and at the time, I didn't know I was like around all the people that would be my friends now, like Daystorm, Batch, my boyfriend Wes. Like they were all there. And like huge Viners at the time. I wasn't on Vine. I didn't know anything about it. I'm just over here being a PA one day and, a staffer the next day. And Wes approached me and was like, do you want to do videos? We shoot videos. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what's your job?
You shoot video.
Yeah, I was like, what is your job though? And he's like, we're influencers was not the word because that didn't exist
creators,
yet.
Huh? Probably.
Something. Yeah, we just shoot videos.
Skits.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So on a day off, I went and they had me make a Vine account that day. And I did I swear, 20. Because, they were only 6 seconds back then. So
I never joined Vine, man. Wow, I should have, dang. But
it was fun while it lasted. I was on there for a month.
6-second videos.
Yes.
So it's like, how are you going to capture
Honestly, that was so much harder than doing like a 1 minute
Reels.
skit because you had to like cut out so much fat to get to the root of the joke. It's like, if you can think like that, like you're so talented. I still never even like perfected that. So yeah, fast forward again. I'm doing that for
So
like
did your Vine like take off?
yeah, I would say in a month it got to like 60,000 or actually less because
Dang,
they
you
were
could grow
tagging me
fast.
back then before Mr. Algorithm. Like it was so, I wouldn't say easy, but it was more natural. It's like you like this person, they're funny, it keeps popping up.
Okay.
That it was in chronological order, you know,
Right.
like, and there wasn't everybody in the world trying to do it. So it was like you
Right.
really stand out with like whoever you were shooting with, that style of comedy or like whatever the genre was. And then so I'm like, oh my gosh, cool. Like I have these followers that I didn't even know I would care about. And then they're like, oh yeah, we're protesting Vine. We're not gonna do that anymore. And I'm like, what? And then Instagram just came out with the 15-second video. So everybody was like, oh my gosh, we have double the time and we're gonna do our videos here now.
Mm-hmm.
And then so we all switched there. And while all of that is going on, I got laid off from like my one steady like full-time job, which is in-house PA for like this production company called Pretty Bird, which
Pretty
was
Bird.
terrible. I can't wait to reveal them one day.
That's another conversation.
Yeah, and so I was again depressed. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to move back home. I'm so embarrassed. I don't want to do this.
Was that like never an option for you? Like
Yeah.
never moving back?
I always had heard once I moved here, if you can make it a year, like you'll make it.
I heard 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it go up?
I always heard like it's 10 years to make it in the industry.
Yes,
like you need
that.
10, like you need to put in your 10-year dues.
Yeah.
But I heard if you could stay here, it might have been like a year to 3 years.
Wow.
Because most people leave between that 1 to 3 year mark.
Yeah.
It's a trip. So you were out here for
that was probably around, I guess, almost the 1 year, maybe like 1.5 year mark.
Okay, so you got past that 1 year.
Yeah, but then I thought like, oh, I'm gonna have to move back again. And then that's kind of like around the same time the influencer was born and people started getting brand deals, and that was more of like a common thing. So while I was still looking for like office jobs and what I knew as a college graduate, I just wasn't getting it. But my social media, kept growing. So finally, I was just like, I'm going to stop putting in work to stuff I don't want to do. And I'm going to just go full force and like do this and focus on acting. I made up my mind.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. So what was like your first like big gig? Like, was it acting? Was it hosting?
I would say my first brand deal where I was like, oh my gosh, they paid me for this was with Ulta Beauty, and I like promoted a face mask.
Amazing.
And I was just like, I can't remember. It was something like $1,500 or something.
That's a good.
And I was just like, oh deal. My gosh, this is like pretty much rent for a month.
Right.
And like, because I was surrounded by people who were like really good at teaching you the game, like Daystorm and West, they'd always be like, make sure you can get enough that'll cover one bill. You know, like, because there's people that think I need $70,000 or I'm not doing it. And then there's people that are accept it for free. But you really got to like look at where you're at and not, you know, like lower your worth, but like kind of think like, do I really need this money right now, even though they're lowballing me, or can I just hold out a little bit longer? So like that was the juggle for me at the time. So I would say like I accepted things that were too low, and then once I got comfortable, I was able to pass up things because it's like I can wait for the next one because this is too much work.
I totally relate to that. I feel like the jobs that pay the most are the easiest jobs, just from my experience in entertainment. Mm-hmm. Like the jobs that are the legit badass job, like pay the most, and it's like not that much work, honestly. Yeah. And then it's like the short films where it's like 12-hour days and it's getting like $150 for your kit to do makeup, what have you. It's like you feel like you're lowballing yourself, but it's like I always walk away with amazing opportunities and connections with
exactly.
Those
people. You either need to get paid in experience or like actual money.
Right.
So that I've done so many things for free just to like test the waters and like meet people, and get experience. So that's worked out for me so far.
Amazing. Okay. So I want to circle back, like rewind back to I got the inkling that your parents weren't together because you said that your dad lived here,
Yeah.
and then your mom had an apartment.
Right.
So, how did that affect you as a kid, like with your mental health or anything, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, definitely. And I've learned how much, like, more recently I am in therapy now. I've been in therapy for maybe almost 3 years, and it's been like the best decision ever. And I'm so glad, like, the pandemic has kind of brought mental health to the forefront and, like, not made it like a scary, you're crazy type
Like
of
a
topic.
negative connotation.
Yeah, I think, like, everybody needs therapy. Like,
that's when I came up with this concept, was in the pandemic, during the
yeah,
pandemic.
it's so true. So, yeah, my parents weren't together, like, even before I was born. So I have an
Wow.
older brother who's 10 years older. They were together, they split up. Then 10 years later, they decide to get back together. My mom gets pregnant. By the time I'm born, they're not together. So
Jeez.
I just grew up always in two different places, never feeling like I was, like, stable, I would say, because I was with my dad every other weekend, adjusting to his house and his rules and whatever, and then going back to my mom's. And, like, I always just felt like I lived out of a suitcase.
Like you didn't have a home.
Yeah, I did have homes. Like, they were good parents, but the trauma around it that, like, wasn't talked about and kind of just, like, glossed over.
Are
like,
you open to talking about some of those issues?
yeah, I would, like, just communication, like the toxic fighting in front of me, like arguing. It would be about me. Like, no, I want her this weekend, or I want her on Wednesdays, but it's just like hearing your parents fight about you like that.
You felt like it was your fault, maybe?
Yeah, and, like, I had to constantly choose. So it would be like, if I stay with my mom, my dad might get mad. If I pick my dad, my mom's going to be lonely.
No kid should have to go through
Yeah,
that.
not thinking like that at all. There's one time I thought about running away. I made it to the corner, and I was like, this is scary. I went back.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I forgot
Because
my
you
fruit
see
snacks.
it in movies and all these things, and it just sounds like the thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, go where? Why?
You're
What
a
is
kid.
the plan?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. But I was like, at least I tried it. I
yeah,
can say that.
yeah. You're a rebel enough to,
Yeah, and I had friends who had, like, divorced parents, but I always felt like, oh, well, it's better for them. Not better, but, like, they were divorced. So it was, like, more of an official thing.
So your parents were just separated. They were never
Yeah,
divorced.
they were never
so
married.
So you feel like you held that hope that they would get back together?
After watching The Parent Trap, yeah, I got some ideas where I was like, I'm going to get this back together. And then I grew up and I'm like, yeah, this isn't happening. That's not going to happen. And then also, like, my dad dating, my mom dating, that was its own thing where it's just like, I'd hate the new boyfriend or the new girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, they could be good people, but it's just like, no, you're not my mom. So I'm not going to like you. And I'm going to try to sabotage you. And then there would be girlfriends of my dad's, like, I'd really like, and they were nice. But then I could see, like, when I'd talk about them, my mom would just, like, not be okay with it. So then I'm like, I can't talk about this.
So you're, like, holding so many things in as a kid.
Yeah. And, like, with nobody to talk to, really. So I feel like I masked it a lot with, like, being funny or playing around or, like, just overworking myself. Like, I had to have a job in high school. I did the cheer team, dance team, and I almost made myself so busy so that I wouldn't have to feel anything or, like, think about it.
That was numbing for you. That was, like, your drug.
Mm-hmm.
Was keeping yourself busy.
Yeah. So that it would be like, oh, I can't go to dad's this weekend because I have to cheer. I have to do this, so that I wouldn't necessarily be hurting anyone's feelings. It would just be like, oh, I have work, or
that's a lot of
school
pressure,
activities.
girl. Like, wow. Like, I give it to you. Like, that's a lot of pressure as a child. So I'm glad you got through that.
Yeah.
I really am. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're very inspiring.
Thank you.
Do you think that this it had issues with, like, your dating relationships?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like because I've had to take care of myself so much, I'm almost too independent sometimes. Like, I don't let people in to kind of rely on or, like, get close to me sometimes. Just like, no, you're just gonna leave. And, like, if my parents aren't together, like, I don't know what a healthy relationship ever looked like.
Yeah.
So it was like, as soon as it got too close, I would just, like, retreat and go back.
Because it's not normal for you. It's not the norm.
Yeah. I would only see it on TV and movies, and already that's fake. So it's just, like, comparing. I did a lot of comparing. And I don't know, I would say just keeping the distance would be, like, the biggest issue. just like not wanting people in because I don't want you to break my heart or to leave or to have to choose. Like, it just made me think that like I would be under so much pressure.
But then also it may like have you longing for that.
Yeah.
You know, longing for what you didn't have. But it's like, what do you compare it to because you didn't have it? Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because my parents were married for 45 years.
Wow.
I knew nothing but that. So I was like, I want my parents to be together. I mean, I want to be like my parents is what I meant.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like when my parents would fight, I would think they're going to get a divorce. Like, I would always think that. Like, whenever they would fight, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to get divorced. Because, like, it wasn't common. Like, where I grew up Southern California. But it was like, my parents were married. And a lot of my friends' parents weren't. Yeah. It was very, very slim few.
Yeah, so you're on, like, the opposite.
Yeah, I'm on the complete opposite side. So just, like, hearing you, it's, like, heart-wrenching. I'm like, it's a lot for a kid. You know? If that's a lot. For a kid, it's like you came out amazing.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. You should be very, very proud of yourself. And you're following your dreams. That's amazing.
Yeah, me and my brother talk about it because he's like high up in law enforcement, and he's just like, we shouldn't be here. Yeah. Like with our parents and our upbringing, like according to statistics, we should not be doing what we're doing. We should not have like made it out this way. And I'm just like, dang, that's crazy to think about.
But it's like you have that drive. You know what I mean? So something from your childhood, because your brother is the same way, it's like something, you guys took something away to maybe, I don't know, I'm just guessing, like maybe you're putting work into your lives because you saw that your parents
that was one of the biggest motivators is I don't want to end up like that. So that was like my biggest push and like motivation to like not do what they did, not have like a separated family, kids at a young age that like, you know, you can't fully support, not regretting, not following your dreams. Like my family's so talented in like so many ways. And like, I just saw how they like always played it safe instead of, you know, taking that risk. One of my friends, Samantha, she's one of the biggest people that like always push me like, go away to college, move to LA. So what? You have to move back home? Oh, well, at least you tried. Like, instead of sitting at home the rest of your life, I wonder if I would have went to LA, or I wonder if I would have went like this. So that was also something. It's like, you're right. Like, okay, I have to move back home. So what? I got experience. You know, I did this. I'm the only one to like go away to college. I mean, I have cousins and stuff that have now, but like my parents didn't go to college. My brother didn't go to college. Like, so I was the first to kind of like inch my way into like trying different things. And it really just took like a community. I'm like a very big observer. So I would see how people move or like, okay, they did this and it turned out like this. So I'm not going to do that. Let me take this advice. Let me grab a little bit from here and kind of just like make my own decisions based off of like other people's life lessons.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's more important, like touching on like the college thing, what have you. I'm like a huge believer in like you don't need a degree to do anything, especially in this day and age. Like I dropped out of community college to go to makeup school, and 10 years later, like I'm here, college, like what? But I just think it's very important to leave your hometown. Yes. Take yourself out of that comfortability, get to know new people, and push yourself. Like you have to get to a place where you want to feel comfortable, it's going to be uncomfortable. But I feel like we should always be uncomfortable all the time because that's what keeps us growing.
Yeah, uncomfortability makes you grow and get out of your shell. And I will say, I don't think you need a degree, but the college experience was really more beneficial than even the degree. Yeah. So it got me out of my hometown. It got me on a schedule. You know, for the first time, there wasn't a bell telling you to go to class.
Right. You could make that decision if you want to go to that class today.
Yeah, and then you learned the punishment after by getting an F.
And you're paying. Yeah. So how about that? Let's just talk about paycheck.
Oh my gosh, where's Joe Byron with my student loan payment?
Joe Byron. Oh my God. Okay, so I saw that you were on the red carpet recently for like a couple of big premieres. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you like what exactly you do and if you're like with the company that does that?
Oh my gosh, I'm a red carpet addict.
She's a red carpet host.
It's crazy. I the biggest one of last year and the last one was Spider-Man No Way Home. That was crazy. It all kind of started. So I think one of the first big influencer things that happened was when a bunch of us went to Hawaii to shoot with Kevin Hart. for what now? And that was crazy because we literally had to go to him to film content because he was filming Jumanji in Hawaii.
Wow.
And like his schedule was so tight that like he literally was just like,
The
y'all
only time
gotta
to
come
get
to
it
me.
was to-
Yeah. So and that was with, I think, Universal Pictures. And so spending 3-4 days, you know, with like the whole marketing team and just learning how they work and what they look for in influencers and like what they expect, I really just learned like, okay, it's not all just about numbers. Like you need to be professional, hold a relationship, you know, just like be a good person to work with instead of being like, I have $1 million, you should hire me. So
yeah, it's all about relationships in this industry.
So I really learned a lot from them, and then so that was like a like relationship with Universal ever since then. And then from there, other studios started working with me, like Paramount. I did a couple trips with them to New Orleans and Miami for different movies, and then now like I have a bond with them. And so I pretty much, it's not a staffing company per se. It's more so like I get direct invites from the studios. They know I love movies. I always talk about being an actress and like studying film. So it's like movies will always be a part of like whether I'm in them or not. I did movie reviews for a while on my YouTube. So yeah,
yes,
that's
she
what
has a
kept...
YouTube channel. Make sure you guys all subscribe.
I know I need to revamp it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So what do your parents have to say now to the whole LA
of course
thing?
now they're
Are they like take
proud
me to the
of
premiere?
you.
Take me to the premiere.
Yeah, I told them they're not coming until it's mine. That's another thing. I'm like, okay, I'm on these red carpets, but like I gotta go to my own red carpet.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't just keep
for
like,
sure
hyping up everybody else. I mean, I can, but like that's the dream.
But it's gonna be your turn.
Yeah. So they're already they already know they gotta come dressed to the tens. There's no games. Like I'm teaching my mom how to pose.
Yes,
Everybody's
girl.
getting hair and makeup done. Makeup by Mandy.
Oh,
and yeah. So that's the dream. Just this year for sure. I need to book a TV show, a movie.
Everybody hear that?
Get started. Yeah.
You will, because look how far you've come and you've stayed persistent and you're following what you love, which is like what is most important. And that's what I want everybody to take away from at least my podcast or whatever conversation they hear, is that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to ask for help. Our mistakes, if you want to call them that, experiences, that's what shapes us and molds us to where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it's like, just never give up and just follow what you love. Like that's what I try to always tell people. Like do what you love.
The best messages I get like on social media are like, thank you for sharing that, you know, this inspired me, whether it's a workout video or like my daily devotionals or like, hey, I heard you talk about therapy. Do you mind sharing what app you use? And I'm just like, I'll drop everything. Just like,
could you share that? You do an app? You do an app for therapy?
Yeah, I use BetterHelp.
Okay, cool. So BetterHelp. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was in person before the pandemic. I do like
Same.
that better, but you know, it's not gotten back to normal. So I've just gotten used to like the phone calls and video calls. And I also want people to know it's not just like you only need therapy when you're going through something. Continue it, because then you're like releasing things kind of before and after they come up. And I realized how much it helped not just me, but like my friends and family, not putting the weight on them with like venting and because it would affect like even my grandma, my friends. It was just like I'd complain about this or what do I do about this, and I didn't realize that like it's taking a toll on them too, like because they want to be there for me but they don't have the tools, they don't have the time, like, so yeah, it's I would say
your mental health could affect another person's mental health,
right?
I tell everybody, I think everybody should do therapy.
Yeah, I really think so.
It's amazing. It helps you realize who you are and you're working your way through your life.
Yeah. It's so like, it's a privilege if you can. Like even my app, like, cause it can get expensive. Don't get me wrong. And not all insurance covers it, but they have like a income-based payment plan.
That's really cool
too, that I saw in there where it's like, yeah, if you really can't afford it, like they work out plans to like make sure people can at least try it.
Well, you know what, Brandi, this is why I'm doing my podcast, because it's like a free mental health therapy session. So that's like my goal. I want people to be able to come to my podcast and listen to people like you and other people and walk away with like inspiration and like tools in order to help them like with their mental health or whatever they're going through.
I love that.
So I appreciate you being here.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yes. Yeah. And if you could just tell everybody where they can find you, and if you don't mind spelling it out for our listeners as well. And
Yes. So all of my social media is Love Brandi Marie. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and that's LOVEBRANDIMARIE. So long. Sorry.
Actually, the guest before had a way longer.
Really?
Way longer.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't feel bad.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Don't feel bad. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, no problem.
Everybody take care of yourselves.
Yes,
okay,
please. No, please take care of yourselves. That's what's most important. Yes. And I'm your host, Amanda Terry. I also go by Makeup Mandy. That is with an I. You can find me on all platforms at makeup_Mandy. Again, that's with an I. Please follow our podcast page on Instagram. It is Makeup Your Mind. Again, that's Makeup Your Mind _podcast. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us 5 stars. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.